Right? So we're starting with the lower body, with the ground, allowing the club to swing back. If you make a sort of turn of a backswing here and you're behind it, you've got a longer way to travel to get back through. Maybe you're not able to do that. Now, as I swing through, my club and arms can go through the wall, but my body can't. If you are a senior golfer or someone that's a bit more experienced in life or have a few aches and pains, golf can be kind of frustrating, especially when it comes to trying to improve your golf swing, trying to not only not lose yards, but get more yards. And if you follow the advice of trying to swing like Rory McIlroy, DJ or whatever, you're generally going to end up just more frustrated. So we need to find a golf swing that gives you effortless power, consistency that you can rely on, and one that you do not need to practice over and over and over to try and get the moves. A golf swing that you can enjoy. And we've got an entire program and series coming out about this, but I'm going to give you just a sneak peek of just a couple of tips that I know that you can go out and apply today and get the results that you want. Let's find out what they are. I am Alex Forte and this is the Art of Simple Golf. We're not going to go in depth today. I just want to give you a couple of things that you can try like at home just to sort of feel it and say, you know what, I'm going to try this at the range. Okay, so I'm just going to briefly cover why golf swings tend to get a little bit harder as we age, right? But we still want to enjoy this stupid game. We want to hit good shots. We want to see them fly high and straight a little bit more often. It's not going to happen all the time. I'm not going to lie to you, and anyone that does is just lying, okay? But we can have a swing that just feels a bit more manageable, a bit easier, all right? Does your golf swing feel a bit restricted, like you're trying to force it too much, or it just doesn't have the freedom and flow that you would like? And are you trying to rotate too much? Are you trying to make too much of a backswing or snap the hips through, whatever it might be? Are you trying to follow too much advice? Let me know below. Let's just say your swing looks a little bit like you're trying to rotate, you're kind of moving the body and you shove it through that way. Does it look a little bit like this, right? Not great. It's not going to be great for power. Lots to think about. If you're thinking very much about, right, where's my hands in the takeaway, now I need to make a backswing, now I need to make the transition, you know, the body isn't always going to be able to do that. It's going to take a lot of practice to be able to do that. And yes, you need foundations, you need like a good setup to have a bit more weight over on the lead side, right? You need to have the left shoulder going down a little bit, and we need to have flow and freedom to collect the club a little bit more shallow. You know, as we make a transition, a shallow angle of attack is going to help our strikes and distances. So without talking too much about what you don't want to do, let's just get into what I would like you to try. Three things I think we're going to cover, okay? First one being setup. There's two options for you. And we're going to go in much more depth into the program that we're releasing soon. But there's two options. You can either turn the right toe out and allow your hips to turn a little bit more, okay? But we don't want the hips turning too flat. We want them going down a little bit here. That can help you get a backswing. But as we've talked about in other videos, you can learn about below, if you make a sort of turn of a backswing here and you're behind it, you've got a longer way to travel to get back through. Maybe you're not able to do that. And if you just try and get back with the hands, you sort of end up flipping and doing something like this, okay? Which can be fine if you can get through the ball. The other option is to open this left foot up for the setup here. Standing a little bit closer, opening this left foot up, talk about it quite often, but it just enables the impact area and the through swing to have a little bit more freedom because we're not so much in the way. We don't have to sort of move and manipulate the body quite so much to get out of the way. Like exaggerating, we can just let the club sort of swing through with relative ease and freedom, right? Pretty good. So there's the setup adjustment. Just to touch on the grip. We want a firm grip on the club, right? In the fingers here, under the base of the pad. Generally, people are going to benefit from 2.5, 3 knuckles on the left. And in the right hand, you don't really use the thumb and forefinger. The pressure is in these 2 fingers here, because this is what, in essence, is pulling the club back as we take it away. We're pulling the club back from here with these 2 fingers. This isn't doing anything. If these apply too much pressure, what can happen is, as we come back down, it can sort of cause casting because they take over that way. So if we're more passive with these and stronger with these, you're going to have a bit more control over the club. And you can always, right, you can always try the baseball grip. We've got a video on it, but trying the baseball grip has helped many senior golfers, older golfers, to get the control that they want. If your hands are a little bit arthritic or whatever, or aches and pains, it can give you that control that you like. We are going to feel like we start the club on momentum, and I want you to think about this. If I was throwing it towards you, I wouldn't be static and snatch it away. That's what happens. That's where bad shots happen, and we're kind of like this, all right? Exaggerated, but that's the general gist. Okay, we want to feel like we've got momentum and energy starting the swing. It's the sequence that goes that way, all right? So we're starting with the lower body, with the ground, allowing the club to swing back here, okay? We want an effortless sort of movement back. But here's where it's going to get interesting. So we start the swing with a little bit of momentum, feeling like we're starting in our feet, as if the club is sort of following behind. But here's where, actually I'm going to get a little alignment stick and whack this down, okay? I'm going to get a little alignment stick because, actually I'm going to put it here. Because I'm going to want you to feel like your swing is a little bit steeper, okay? Because we're not trying to sort of turn as much. Yes, we want to use the core here, okay? We want to use the core and rib cage to turn, but I want you to feel like the club is a bit steeper going back. What's that going to do? It's going to be much harder to come over the top to sort of stab at the shot here. Whereas if we're over here, it's much easier to kind of dig at it to try and get more speed. But if we, I don't know why that's spinning around. If we have this as a sort of guide, okay? It doesn't have to be exact, but if we have this as a sort of guide, and we're trying to keep the club face in front of that line, or at least sort of in front of our feet, I don't necessarily care whether it does or it doesn't, okay? It doesn't matter if it moves from here or here. I don't really care. But this is the general guide. We're just going to feel like we're a little bit steeper and more in front. And then we're going to allow the shallowness, and we're going to straighten the arms through the ball. That is it. I don't care about how much your shoulders are turning. I would like you to very much feel like your belly, your rib cage is sort of moving the backswing. So we start with the feet. We start with the hips here to start that. Then the core follows, but we're steep just to there, all right? So that's the movement there, okay? Just starting it and keeping it steep. It's almost going to feel like you're not doing much at all, because you're just going to be going like so. Okay, a very tiny little dink of a golf shot. And the swing can only necessarily go to here, but it's going to feel steep, but it's going to give you a lot of time. We're not snatching it with the hands. That's a key I want you to know. We're not snatching it with the hands. We're not bringing the club up. We're not picking the club up. We're allowing flow, but we're keeping the plane a little bit steeper, all right? That's it. So we've got the setup here, and we're just a little bit steeper as we go back, okay? A little bit steeper as we go back. Then the only thing I'm thinking about is straightening the arms just past the ball, okay? That That is all I am doing. That is an effortless golf swing. Effortless. And you think, why doesn't everyone play like that? Well, it's not going to quite give you the compression and the shaft lean and the maximum distances, but it's going to give you pretty decent distances. And yes, my friend, you can definitely use it with a driver. The same sort of setup applies. We are going to be a little bit steeper, but because it's a longer club, even if you try and sort of keep steeper, it's going to look very different to a wedge or a 7-iron when you're looking back from here. So, but the feel is just to there, okay? Starting, extending, all right? Extending through, straight in the arms, and that is it. As far as setup goes, okay? As far as setup goes, you just want to have a little bit more, a feel like you've got that foot back. Let's say we've gone with that route. We just want to feel like there's a wall here, okay? A wall in front of us. Let's hold this up. So there's a wall going all the way up, okay? Now, as I swing through, my club and arms can go through the wall, but my body can't. So let's say I've got it here, right, just in front of my front side. So I've got a bit of a reverse K. I'm starting with a bit of a tilt, so I can strike up a little bit. My arms and hands can go through the wall, but my body sort of stays back. Whereas with an iron, if I was setting it with an iron, I would have a little bit more weight on the front side, okay? And as I swung through, I would sort of be a little bit more over it, okay? Because we want the low point after it. And we've got that in other lessons too. But there's a very sort of brief introduction, but I just want you to go out and feel that. So try a setup tweak. Try and swing a bit steeper and extend the arms as you come through. But make sure you're not just using your hands to get steeper. Allow the flow. Use your core and your rib cage to give you that momentum. And don't try and swing too long, okay? But there's how you're gonna have an effortless golf swing, right? No matter what your age.